3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, August 15th, 2018. Bitcoin up a little bit, Litecoin up a little bit. We're going to talk about that. We're going to dive into the charts and answer that question. How do you play this game of cryptocurrency, this volatile game, this roller coaster ride? How do you play it? We're going to look at that and answer that question. Before we do, I want to look at this tweet I tweeted the other day. This is a good way to start the video by visiting what my thought was here. It says, don't look at what other people are doing. If you can accumulate comfortably here, even amidst further possible downside, do it. If you don't have that risk tolerance and can't lose money, don't do it. This is not financial advice. And that really is the strategy at the end of the day. I'm sorry to say it's that easy. Buy or don't buy. And it really depends on your unique situation, your unique risk tolerance, and your outlook on life, where you are financially. And so that's something you need to sit back, kind of take a look at and make a decision. But to help guide in that decision, and this is what I do, and that's why I'm doing this video, there are some really good ways to do that, to make the decision on what to do next, what to do at these levels in Bitcoin, how to play this game of cryptocurrency and investing and accumulating and buying dips. So let's start here on the weekly. We've been tracking this ever since right at the top of this red weekly candle, right around $8,100 is when we started talking about this on this channel. And this was like the last week of July. And we started tracking the reverse head and shoulders possibly in play on Bitcoin on the weekly. An extremely bullish setup if it confirms itself and if it happens. So on the chart right here, you see the reverse head and shoulders in play. There's the shoulder, here's the head, and here's this possible right shoulder happening. The question is, are we going to have this continued bounce up that we've just started seeing in the last day? And you can see it indicative on this green weekly candle that's looking very nice right now, by the way. Are we going to have a bounce up and retest this neckline, or will this fail and will we create a new low and basically the reverse head and shoulders no longer in play? That's really the question. And so when asking that question, how do you play this game? What do I do, right? How do I handle this market right now? It's all over the place. There's absolutely zero way to know what's going to happen next. That's the first truth. And it's 100% fact. There is no way to know what's going to happen next. But we can look at some indicators. We can see what's going on in terms of the charts and historical data. So let's look at it. We have some things going on in the daily. We're going to focus on the daily chart right now to help us and guide us in this decision-making process on, whether or not to get on or off this roller coaster ride of Bitcoin. So let's start here. First off, you have this purple line I have on the daily chart. That is the inverse head and shoulders that we just talked about. And that's the neckline. That's the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders. So to start things off, what we can do first off is a break through that, right? Something to look out for, a positive break through that. We can take the bottom of the head right there to the neckline and we can measure that. And we can look and that's actually not the right, that's not the right line. Let me get the trend line. So bottom of the head to the neckline, we can measure that. We can take that possible breakout area, I don't know, maybe right here, and we can say there's our target for a breakthrough, a bullish breakthrough, obviously breaking previous lower highs on the chart that you see. That's our target, that's our bullish target. And that's good just to have it in mind on the upside so that as you're making your decisions, you know what you're going to do. But let's dig a little deeper. So what's the road? What does that story look like in terms of breaking those areas? There's a lot of resistance along the way on that story for Bitcoin right now. And although we're having a nice day, you can see this green candle right here, and I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see this nice green candle that we're forming on today, August 15th. And here are our walls. Here are our barriers, right? We have this 50 EMA, which in a downtrend is a very consistent area of resistance, right? That's just what happens. You can see in this last downtrend, resistance, 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 didn't break it, right? We didn't even get close to it this time, and we just continued down. So, in terms of finding that bullish break, we have to break the 50 EMA, first of all. So if you want to watch anything right now, and you can watch this on the daily charts, right, and see what kind of momentum we get. If there's any volume that's going to push us through this 50 EMA at around $7,000, That's the first area of resistance, $7,000. If we see resistance there, I want to throw much caution that, you know, there could be some big downside in terms of bouncing off that area of resistance. So what would that look like? Well, from where we are now, that would be just another 5% or so away from where we are now to even test those areas of $7,000. And it could come quick. And then if we get a bounce of resistance off of that area, what might we expect, or at least anticipate, not expect, off of that area? So a bounce of resistance off the 50 EMA, and we talk about this often, up to, you know, 15 up to 25% overextension from the 50 EMA in creating a new lower low. So if that happened, right, the downside, and I'm sorry to talk about the downside, but the downside is actually where most of the money is made if you can be prepared for it and have fiat available for it. So I want to talk about it. If we see resistance at the 50 EMA and we do see a bounce, say 20%, that's going to be our new lower low. And you can see we're going to break this previous low, meaning the bottom was not formed. We could be talking about $5,500 Bitcoin off of a bounce off of this first area of resistance of the 50 EMA. So I think it's very important that we talk about that. Now, that's what to expect on the downside, right? And it's something to track. So if we get a cross above the 50 EMA, then we're looking a little bit more bullish, because you can see what happened the last time we actually were in a downtrend and finally broke through the 50 EMA. You can see it right there. We broke through very nicely and we had very nice gains to create this new lower high. So if we do break through that 50 EMA, right, and Bitcoin is bullish as of right now, what can we talk about happening? Well, obviously that 200 EMA is right up there, right? And it's a nice, it's not an exact area of confluence with this neckline, but it's on the way and it's very close, because you see Bitcoin on the daily chart with these lower highs, right? So if we break the 50 EMA and break even the 200 EMA, or even see resistance at the 200 EMA, the biggest thing to look out for, and even though we're on the daily, it really is shorter term, because if this happens, it's going to happen probably within the next week, 2 weeks, which is if we make a run, the question is, are we going to succeed in breaking this downward trend that we've been in, or are we going to fail like we failed over and over again this year? And you can see it, we failed, right? Here's the neckline on the reverse head and shoulders. It's also the downward trend line of resistance in Bitcoin over the last months. So we failed one time, right? Lower, and it's a lower high. We failed another time, lower high. We failed another time, lower high. So the question is, are we going to fail again right here with a lower high and bounce even further down? Will this be an ever extended bear market that we have to live through, that more people have to bail out of, right? Are you going to have to be proven to be a long-term holder even more than you have been? Thicker skin than the skin that you've already grown, right? Is it going to be a longer journey? That's the question. So in terms of how do you play this game, it's very simple. We just painted two scenarios. We painted a scenario where we bounce off of, say, the 50 EMA of resistance, right? And this bullish uptrend that we're hoping we're in right now doesn't continue, and we might see 20%, 25% losses from this area for a new lower low. So to play the game, be ready for that. That's it. Be ready for that. Have some fiat available if you're keen on accumulating right now, because that's where the money is. And we've talked about this over and over, and I've gotten some hate in comments as we talk about this, you know, even in this uptrend, you know, be ready for a downside, be ready that we're not forming a bottom here in Bitcoin. And then look, we've had multiple dips since then. Multiple areas of accumulation have happened. That's the whole reason I do this channel, is so that we can be ready for these areas of accumulation, because that's where the money's made. And it's also where all the fear, the negativity, the doubt is in these areas. And whenever there's more fear, negativity, and doubts, and negative comments, and whatever it is, usually is the best time to buy. So as of recently, this area has proven to be one of those times. You know, looking back at the past, you know, May, beginning of June, here's a nice channel, was one of those times. Bitcoin already down a good amount. But look, we continued going down even more, and even more fear was in play. So I just want to throw caution, be ready for something like that happening, and be ready that this channel doesn't hold and we break further down, and have some fiat ready if you're interested in accumulating. But on the upside, be prepared for good gains. Are you comfortable with your current portfolio right now? That's the question. And if you are, then enjoy the ride. If we do break the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, if we break this previous lower high, enjoy the ride, but make sure you're happy with your portfolio and how it is. And if you want to accumulate at these levels, you know, it could be a very good idea to do so. But like I said in my post, if you don't have that risk tolerance and can't lose money if we do go further down, then don't do that. And you know, that's just my opinion. That's my outlook on how I handle the markets. You know, I don't spend more money than I can afford to lose. I find my position that I'm comfortable with and I just enter and I accumulate. So, you know, this is not financial advice. You know, you want to really take a look back at your situation personally and make your own decisions. Don't listen to YouTubers. Don't listen to people on the internet that are saying to buy, to hold, to sell, get out of the markets, get into the markets. Don't listen to anybody. Take the data that's in front of you. Find your risk tolerance. Look at your financial situation and figure it out. You have the power to figure it out. So those are my thoughts on where we are right now. Will we fail if we approach this inverse head and shoulder neckline? Right here is a very, very key area right now for Bitcoin. Will we fail? That is the question, and time will tell. I'm very interested to see what happens, and it can be extremely exciting if we break through that neckline for confirmed inverse head and shoulders and even start seeing support at that neckline, even more bullish. Time will tell. Let's see if the markets keep moving. If it does, I might do a live stream tonight. As always, I truly appreciate each and every one of you, your comments. I appreciate you guys hitting that like button. Very encouraging for me to see. I will see you all in the next video, and God bless.